welcome back. I decided to film this video this weekend. I actually made this recipe this weekend for my family. Totally impromptu. We were trying to think of something fun to have as a breakfast slash decorating snack because we were decorating for Christmas. And I decided to make chocolate baked donuts. So, kids had a blast with them. They are all gone. And they were one of the best donuts we've had. So, I figured I have to share it with you guys. They were so easy. They're baked, but they are so good. So, stay tuned. I'll show you guys the ingredients that you need, how simple the recipe is, and then how fun they look at the end. So after this weekend, I actually did decide to write this recipe down so I can add it to my recipe box. The recipe is from Girl Meets Farm. She has a show on Food Network. She also has an awesome blog. So if I can find a link to the recipe, I will put that in the description box. But these are the ingredients. And then the recipe instructions I just have on the back. So this is all that you need. So to get started, you need nonstick spray. I'm just using canola spray, and that is for your donut pan. 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. For today's recipe, because we just made these, I'm actually making these for my sister, and I'm using gluten-free flour. This is just gluten-free 1-to-1. I'm hoping that they come out okay. 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of baking cocoa, 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 cup of brewed coffee, and I just brewed this a little, actually this morning, and I put it in the fridge, so I've let this come to room temperature. 6 tablespoons of buttermilk, 6 tablespoons of a flavorless oil. I'm just using vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 egg, and then for the glaze, which is a coffee glaze, you need 1 cup of confectioner sugar, 2 tablespoons of brewed coffee, 1 tablespoon of milk, and whatever toppings you want. So I'll show you what we're going to put on ours in just a second. So I'm trying to be organized, and I have all my equipment kind of laid out. While I go through this, I am going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 375. So you're going to need a medium bowl, a large bowl. This is going to be for your wet ingredients, and this is going to be for your dry. A whisk. I just used a wooden spoon. I have this non-stick donut pan that I absolutely love. I got this from Target last year, and I don't actually remember the donuts we made last year, and I will tell you, we were not impressed with them. So it's probably why I don't remember, but these donuts are phenomenal. A liquid measuring cup, and I've had some people message me and ask me questions about this cup. I actually ordered this on eBay quite a few years ago after my grandmother passed away. She had one like this in her kitchen, and me and her used to bake together all the time. And every time I use this, it just brings back memories. This is literally identical to what she used to have. We need some measuring spoons, measuring cups for dry ingredients. This makes your life a lot easier and makes cleanup a lot easier. So I just have a cookie tray, and then I just have a cooling rack. So you're gonna bake your donuts, and I will go over when you take them out how long you let them sit in the pan. You let them cool on this rack, and then you just put the glaze on them and leave them on this rack, and then anything that drips off is caught right in here. So super easy cleanup. For the glaze, I just have a small bowl, a little offset spatula, and a little whisk. That's all you need. And then for our fun toppings, you could literally do whatever you want. In the recipe, they suggested doing toasted hazelnuts, which I think would be delicious. Because these were for my kiddos, we did rainbow sprinkles, and then we also did some with mini chocolate chips. So that's what I'm going to do today. So let's get started. So in our large bowl, I'm going to put our dry ingredients.
Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside.
And that is it for our dry ingredients. So I'm just going to whisk this together to incorporate it all. And this already smells fantastic. And for those of you wondering, because of the coffee that you add to the donut mixture, it just accentuates the chocolate flavor. It is so good. So we're going to swap these. Set aside our dry ingredients, and this is where we're going to incorporate our wet ingredients, starting with our coffee.
Hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
So we're just gonna mix this up, make sure all our wet ingredients are incorporated. Try not to make too much of a mess. And this right here just smells so good. So at this point, all you want to do is mix your wet ingredients into your dry. So I like to take my spoon and make a little well. Pour my wet ingredients in. Slowly incorporate this.
Oh, and the sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do.
And that is your donut batter. Alright, so to prepare your donut pan, this is a non-stick pan, and it's really nice quality. However, still spray it because you can't be too careful. So we're just gonna lightly spray this with my canola oil, and then my pan is prepped. So you can go ahead and put batter in here with a spoon, or I'm gonna show you a fun little hack. Take a cup, any kind of cup, take either a piping bag, or I'm just going to use a gallon Ziploc bag. I'm going to open that up, and then use your hand and put one of the corners in the bottom of the cup. I use this same trick for putting frosting, or if I need another type of batter put in here. And then we're going to go ahead and scoop our batter right in. So let me just move you guys a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And you can do some of it, or you can do all of it. I'm not gonna quite fit with the size of my cup, so we're just gonna scoop that. You just pull the sides up. I seal it, and then I leave a tiny little bit open to just get some air out. So you're gonna pull your batter out, and then you have a little pastry bag full of batter. So I twist mine, and then once you're ready, this recipe makes 12 donuts exactly, or it did the last time I made it. So be very careful with the hole that you make. I didn't make a very large one, so you're just gonna snip off the end. Get rid of that so it doesn't end up in one of my donuts. And then you just fill up each donut hole or mold 3/4 of the way up. easy is that, and how less messy than using a spoon?
And having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart.
Okay, so for your next batch, you just want to make sure that you leave that hole pointed up because it will leak out. This is a loose batter, but with these bags it's really easy. You can just prop it up just like that. So I'm gonna pop this into the oven. My oven has preheated to 375 and it's going in for 12 minutes.
But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go.
Okay, so how good do those look? So those are our first 6, and the instructions say to leave the donuts in the pan for 5 minutes, and that gives them time to like make sure that they're set up, and they actually pull away from the pan a little bit, so it makes it really easy to take them off and transfer them to your cooling rack. Alright, so the donuts have cooled a little bit, so I'm actually just going to use my offset spatula to just help get these out, and they come out so easy. And I'm really happy how these came out. Sometimes with gluten-free flour, it's a hit or a miss. It all depends. So we're gonna just place these on our cooling rack. I'm gonna go ahead and bake another 6. A quick tip for you is just take a dry paper towel and wipe these out so there's no residue for the donut batter to stick to. And I'm gonna bake another 6. Let them cool completely, and then I will show you how we glaze them. Alright, so as you can see, all 12 of our donuts have been taken out of the pan. They've cooled. They're at room temperature. So we're going to set these aside. And we're going to put together our glaze. So the glaze is super easy. You just need a small whisk, small bowl, 1 cup of confectioner sugar. We all know how messy this is, so be careful. You need 2 tablespoons of brewed coffee. So, 1 and 2. Now, the recipe also calls for 1 tablespoon of milk, which I do have here. However, I want to mix this and start to get this incorporated first. 1, I want a really strong coffee flavor, but 2, I don't want my glaze to be too loose. I found that when I made the glaze the first time, I had to add a little bit of extra powdered sugar. So we're going to add a tiny bit of milk. And you want it a little thicker than you think you do. So that actually looks great. So you can see I still have a bunch of milk left. And if you want a really thin glaze, you can go ahead and add it. Just be very careful. It's a lot easier to add more liquid than it is to add more sugar. So I'm gonna set this aside. So you're gonna take one of your cool donuts and work close to your cookie tray. You're gonna dip it right into the glaze and just pull it out and rotate it and then place it right back on the cooling rack. And look at that, you have a little glazed donut. So at this point, you can add some fun sprinkles, or chocolate chips or nuts, whatever your little heart desires. I would recommend adding the toppings after each donut because the glaze does set pretty quick, especially when the donuts are this cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and glaze these and I'll show you what they look like at the end.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go.
Alright, here's the finished product. All 12 donuts are glazed and decorated, and they came out awesome. So let me know if you guys try out this recipe, if you like it. If you like this type of recipe or video, give me a thumbs up, and make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube fam. See you guys in the next video.
Chilling and having a good time.